Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course. We are here with a Master Lightweaver, Sophie Bedard, and we're talking about demystifying karmic entanglements. We're going to learn why they're so important and how we can really liberate ourselves from them. Sophie, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Sophie Bedard.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. It's wonderful to be back with you and the New Earth One Network. Thank you for having me today. And this topic is very, very dear to my heart. You're gonna discover this. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it really is very interesting work. It's multidimensional work. It goes in a quantum way for healing, and it's really wonderful to witness how we can really unravel from these entanglements. And so let's talk about karmic entanglements. How did you get to clear karmic entanglements?
Yes, thank you. Well, it's been quite a journey. And, initially I've been offering deep emotional clearing and release, emotional detox for many years. It's really been my playground and my sweet spot, combining linguistics and the flow of pure light from the great central sun to really clear layers and layers and burdens of emotions, suppressed emotions, and also supporting clients to bring up these emotions in a safe way, but in a massive way, right? Bringing those emotions to the surface for the purpose of releasing them. And I was doing that until I upgraded with an advanced training with the Academy for the Soul to gain mastery of my intuition and my intuitive skills. And as the final part of this journey it really is a journey of tremendous growth. As the final part, I received my sacred gift. This is something that Crystal Hughes, the founder of the Academy for the Soul, downloads from the higher self and higher team of her students. And I'd like, Lauren, if that's okay, to share the story of receiving my gift, because it's very significant. It's kind of funny as well, the way it happened. So 3 days before traveling to Florida to the retreat where I would receive my gift, I had an urge, really a compulsion, to clear a space with where there were lots of spider webs very high up on the ceilings. So I really had this urge, I have to do this. I was obsessed with it, so I get to do it, right? And by doing it, I got very masterful at grabbing them in such a way that in one movement, I would grab the whole chunk. The whole chunk would be gathered and cleared away. And I noticed that if I didn't grab it properly, there would be a piece that remains, and then it would get stuck somewhere else, and then it would make a mess, and it would be even more difficult to clear. So I did that. And then when the moment came to receive my gift, Christelle announced, okay, Sophie, it's your turn to receive your gift. And your gift is you clear the stress web which is the karmic entanglements. And she said, and you know how to do that? And I said, yes, of course. I've been doing this for days. So at that moment, I didn't just receive my gift. I had the assignment to actually perform it. So it is really, truly the intuition flowing through and making it happen through my being. I became the channel of my gift. So I did it. I was in a slight trance, honestly. And just as I cleared this spider web in the space, in the room for 3 days, then at that moment, I naturally clear the stress web that intuitively I perceive for this person. It's wrapped around their throat and it's choking them. And for that person, it's attached to their ankle and it's holding their back, holding them stuck, preventing them from moving forward. And I do the clearing, I grab the stress web, just as I did grab the spider webs for 3 days. And then I grab the stress web and there's a moment, like a moment of truth. It was going very, very quick, just in a moment of seconds, a matter of seconds. And there's a moment where I grabbed all this stress web and I was asking, okay, what do I do with this now? And I got, throw it over there. So I asked, well, it was just happening, I asked, what's over there? Over there is great central sun, and throw it over there. And there was this moment, like a moment of pause. And then I had to speak it out, to really claim it out loud. I have the authority to send the residue, to throw this residue back to the great central sun, to be burnt out, burnt away, destroyed, and eliminated forever, return to nothingness. So I did that, and it was really an initiation. It was an initiation, an activation, and a remembrance. And the people who received the experience of my gift, they enjoyed massive shifts in their energy. So I realized, okay, I got it. I got my gift and I know how to do it, obviously. Now, as I traveled back to Europe from Florida, it was quite a journey. I had 3 plane rides, or kind of 24 hours journey. And through this journey, I got massive downloads of the full process, because what I had experienced at the retreat was really a short, condensed version, but there was a whole process revealing itself to me while I was in the plane. So I was writing notes like crazy in my notebook, and super high speed to really capture all these insights that were coming through. There was a guy sitting next to me after a while. He said, "Are you writing a book?" And I said, "Oh no, I was at a workshop and I'm making notes." He said, "Well, that must have been quite a workshop." I say, "Yes." I didn't want to get into the details because I wanted to focus on my downloads and my insights I was receiving. And with all that, by the time I got home, 3 plane rides later, I was ready to offer one-on-one sessions. And so I did that. I started offering these brand new sessions, Crystalline Karmic Liberation, even though at that stage, to be honest, I didn't really consciously know what the karmic entanglements are, but I had total clarity on how to spot them, how to recognize them and their location, and how to clear them very powerfully and very effectively. So I put out an offer, and a whole bunch of clients were magnetized. It's like they were hardly waiting for this to be offered. And I got to do hundreds of sessions. And you get to experience it. I remember, Laura, and you get to experience it yourself. And it is incredibly profound. liberating and transformative. And I gifted the experience to myself. And whenever I'm stuck with something, that's what I do for myself. And through doing these hundreds of sessions, it allowed me to gain the crystal clarity of what the karmic entanglements are and how they are created. Not only how I am gifted to clear them, but what's the whole story and what's the whole mystification. So that's why we are here today, demystifying these karmic entanglements.
Wow, thank you, Sophie. I love how Crystal picked up on the webs, like in your field, and how you picked up on it as well. And for one thing, I personally would not be using my hand to clear cobwebs. I would be. That is really wonderful. And so that, I mean, just the analogy of what you were doing there and how it translated into your life is really beautiful, and how that magnetized the people to you. Yeah. I just, an incredible story.
Well,
and
you know, in this, and that's the reason why I felt it was meaningful to share the story, because in this I see a divine orchestration, really, how it was, well, it was probably planted in me many lifetimes ago. I probably have been doing that for some lifetimes at least, but it was planted in my awareness by this urge of clearing in the space, right? That was my higher self starting to prepare me for receiving my gift. That when Christelle spoke it to me and said, Sophie, you know how to do that, I was, yeah. And I'm not usually, you know, like, yeah, I can do that, you know. But at this moment, I was so, well, I was in a slight trance, but I was in this experience that I had. Yeah, I've been doing this. I know how to grab a stress web, and I know how to do it masterfully. So with that, and yes, putting the offer out there, I was like, okay, are people gonna like it, want it? Yes, they were literally magnetized. So in this whole, and it's not, the story is not over, because now we're here in the next few steps of the story, sharing it together and bringing it to the next steps. But I really see a divine orchestration behind this, honestly. So yeah.
Beautiful. And I have had a session with you as well, and it really is interesting to witness the layers and how deep it goes in generations. So we're going to get to that in a moment. So yes, I just wanted to thank you for being open to receive. And yes, your higher self was absolutely in charge and guiding you in that way, and bringing that memory, that soul memory, to the forefront, so that it lined up right when you were there in that workshop and receiving the gift. You took action, and then taking the action on the way home. How beautiful that you could spend, I mean, it's not beautiful to spend 24 hours in travel. It's very tiresome, but that time there gave you the ability to download that and get crystal clear on what that is. So again, divine orchestration. It's really
exactly beautiful. Every moment had a purpose, and it was all combined. Yes, divine orchestration. That's it. Yeah, thank you.
And so this topic of karmic entanglements, can you share what they are? Can you define that for us and actually explain how we create them?
Yes, absolutely. So that's what I've discovered through the hundreds of sessions that I did. By clearing them, I got to, well, witness them being created, right? So how they are created and what they are, it's all about choice. You know, a choice that was made at a significant moment in the past, and all the emotional, mental, and energetic imprint of the consequences of that choice. Now, we make choices at every moment, and every moment we can choose to go the high road, to go with our higher self, to go with the divine, or to reach out to the divine. Or we can choose consciously or not so consciously or totally unconsciously, or just by letting it happen, we can choose to go with our ego, to sink into or slide into emotionality, believing that we are our limited self, right? And that's a choice we have at every single moment. Now, there are choices that are more significant than others, that are crossroads, like nodal points on our soul incarnation plan for this lifetime. And these are moments in which the decision that is made has greater consequences than the choice that is made just at every moment, right? That's where we choose, again, to go the high road, but are we going the high road of our destiny, right? These moments where we are offered to choose the road of our destiny, or to not choose it, or to let it pass, to slide down, to be taken over by our emotionality, to sink into despair or shame or anger, to be terrorized and paralyzed by fear, and to miss this higher choice that is present, the choice to reach out to the divine through this paralyzing fear, for example, and to call on the divine at that moment when we're going through something very meaningful and intense. And it can also be repeating that choice again and again, because we're not the choice of our path of destiny. If we miss it, it's not offered only once in one lifetime. We are being offered it again and again. It's like a GPS, right? If we miss the exit, another exit, like the GPS of our soul incarnation map reorganizes that there's going to be another exit. So if we keep missing it, then at the level of the whole lifetime, we end up missing the many opportunities that were presented to learn the lesson, and to not only learn the lesson, but grow from the lesson and from the wisdom that we gain from learning the lesson, and then to reorient our trajectory to the high road, right? The road of where we go with our higher self and with the divine. And when we keep missing making that higher choice, then it leaves such an imprint on our timeline that it has repercussions on the following incarnations. It cascades down to the next lifetime and the next lifetime. Now it happens in our past lives, but it also happens to our ancestors, and ancestors who missed also the lesson that was so significant in their lifetime. Then the imprint is being imprinted. The emotions, the emotional burdens are being carried out to the next generations, and the energetic imprint is being marked on the genealogical maternal line, the genealogical paternal line, and the next generations. It cascades from generations to generations, and eventually you end up being trapped in these energies, emotions, mental constructs that keep recreating more of the same through projections, more entrapment. Now, what happens in this lifetime is that you're experiencing loops and patterns that you can't seem to set yourself free from. You're entangled in it, right? And it keeps recreating itself over and over again. And when an issue is recurring over and over again, no matter how much healing you have done, healing and clearing you have done, it can really drive you insane. You feel that no matter what healing and transformation work you do, you still feel trapped and disempowered. And depending on how we experience it. It can be maybe experienced as you feel like you're falling into a hole or you're falling into a trap, and then you manage to extract yourself to come back to the ground, and then you fall into another one, and then you hardly come back to the ground and you fall into another one. Like it just keeps repeating itself. Or it can feel like literally being trapped in a spider web that is so sticky, right? And the more you move, the more it closes itself on you, and it pressures you, and it leaves you so disempowered or feeling so disempowered. And the situation is that this issue that you may have healed in maybe your past timeline or in your ancestry. But if it is so recurrent, it is actually, that's what has been shown to me by doing this session, and what was shown to me through these downloads of the whole process, is that it is present not only in one line, but in all three lines of your past timeline, so your past lives, your genealogical maternal line, your genealogical paternal line. And then in this current lifetime, you are at the convergence of these three lines that carry these imprints that are cascading from generation and to generation, or from lifetime to lifetime, until it reaches to you, where you are the convergence point of these three massive streams that, you know, it keeps you trapped, and it keeps being recreated through the projections. Maybe you clear it on your genealogical paternal line, but it keeps flowing from your genealogical maternal line, and it spills over, and here it is being recreated over again. If you remember when I was describing how to be masterful with clearing the cobweb, there's a way to grab it, to grab the whole cobweb and avoid that part of it gets remains and gets stuck, right? If it gets stuck, then you don't have the whole thing, and from there more will grow again. So the point is to grab the whole of it, right? And the thing is, these three lines, the past timeline, your own past timeline, that of your genealogical maternal and paternal lines, they carry these imprints of the karmic lessons that were missed. And it forms this stress web that in this current lifetime, you are trapped in this stress web, literally feeling like a prey, the prey of a spider that is trapped in the spider web, right? And if we clear one part, just one part, the rest is sticky and it holds you back into it. Now, usually, if not all of the time, it was in your incarnation plan in that past life, or in that of your ancestors, to have this intense experience at which there was this critical choice, right? This crossroads. Would you choose the road of your destiny, or choose to take the high road, or would you choose to go with your emotionality? It was actually in the soul incarnation plan as a theme of that lifetime, and as a lesson to be learned, but it was missed, okay? And the thing is, whether it's your own past life or your ancestors, you or they did the best. We do the best we can. We have life lessons to learn, and sometimes we put some pretty solid life lessons, some very ambitious life lessons, some very challenging life lessons, and some of them, many of them, hopefully and fortunately, we learn and grow from them, but some of them we just cannot get through them during the space of that lifetime. And then the imprint remains, and again it cascades all the way to this lifetime. You know, it's like when you have 3 rivers that join together, even if they are not very strong streams, right? Maybe they are just a little stream, but 3 little streams, if they join together at one point, what results becomes a very significant stream, and it has a lot of power, right? It has a lot of dynamic. And that's why in this current lifetime, we are at the convergence point of these 3 streams, which for some, in some cases, it is a very intense stream of energy. Sometimes it is not so intense, but the convergence and the combination of 3 streams make it like it's create like a whirlpool, right? It wraps you up in this spider web, and you have the experience of being trapped and of not being able to set yourself free. Okay, that makes sense, Lauren?
Wow. Yes, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And so then the next question would be, how do we begin to experience this, or how do we clear it, identify it, so that we can understand that we're creating it, that it's there, and then once and for all get past it, clear it?
Exactly. Well, once we have this understanding that, well, there's the stress web is attached in our aura, that's what relates to our current lifetime, but there are these, it originates in our 3 lines. Then what we do, we go and clear at the source, at the point of origin. And the way we do that is some sort of course correction, if you like. We go to the point of origin where the lesson was missed on these 3 lines, to restore the energy of the higher path, restore the energy of the energy and the wisdom of the higher choice that had been missed back then. So with that, it's a restoration of the divine order, the order of choosing the divine and going with the higher self, going with the divine self. So concretely, how we do that, we start with clearing the stress web in the aura, which is the convergence of these 3 lines, and that's how it affects this lifetime. So just like grabbing the spider web, right? Grabbing the stress web, and we pull out 3 strings that we put on the side, and we clear the residue. Everything else other than these 3 strings, we clear the residue right away, and you get already to experience some relief, because you are free from this experience of being trapped in the stress web, in the spider web. So even though at that point we've just begun our clearing, there's already a sense of, wow, that feels better, and it's happening. So it's empowering us and encouraging to now, let's go into the deep dive into each of the 3 strings and the 3 lines, the 3 timelines, where we're gonna go to the source point, right, to the point of origin. So we work very systematically: past timeline, genealogical maternal line, genealogical paternal line, going to the point of origin. So when I do this work with clients, I read intuitively, I read where it is attached in the aura, and we do the clearing. We bring some pure light to, well, to replace, right, to occupy the space. Then on the past timeline, I read intuitively how many lifetimes ago was this created. Or sometimes it may have been created in the womb, or it may have been created during birth or at a very young age. So where on the past timeline where on the genealogical maternal line, how many generations ago, where on the genealogical paternal line, again, how many generations ago. And then we go to this point of origin, and what we need to do at that point is to go and gather what is the karmic lesson. What is it that was missed in terms of lesson that would have allowed to take the high road, right? And at that moment, what we do is we observe on the past timeline, and I guide the clients to work with their higher self, to receive insights. If the client doesn't receive it themselves, their higher self gives it to my higher self to speak it out to them. So we combine, and it's kind of like working with a prism, you know, or with a magnifying glass, and you just need to adjust which angle you look from, which perspective you need to take until suddenly you get it, suddenly you see it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. It totally makes sense. And sometimes we need to elaborate a bit what's like the full karmic lesson. So we do that until comes the moment when we know that, okay, we got it. It is complete. It is totally complete. And at that moment, all we need to do is to clear the residue. And what is fascinating to me, it's fascinating every time I guide a client to do that, or I do it to myself, is that until that moment, the stress web and what was present on the past timeline or the genealogical lines, it felt like sticky tar type of substance that is heavy and dark and sticky and toxic, right? And once we have captured the whole of the karmic lesson, it totally is, it has lost its power. It's just spider web, but not the spider web alive, you know, because that's sticky, but you know, old spider web that is just dead residue that's just receiving the dust. It has no stickiness, it has no weight, it's just something that you take and it becomes as easy as that to clear the residue away all along the past timeline or the genealogical maternal line and genealogical paternal line. It's just instant clearing. Whereas moments before, it felt so dark and heavy and disempowering and entrapping, right? And we do the clearing and we flow the light of the great central sun into the past line or genealogical maternal paternal line. And we do this very systematically. So we do clearing in each of the three lines. If you remember, I mentioned that when we clear in the aura, I grab this stress web and I put aside 3 strings. These are the 3 lines that we work with. So we go one by one, we go into one line, get to the point of origin, gather all the karmic lesson, then we just clear the residue and flow some light. Then we move to the next line, then we move to the third line. And to do all this, what I was shown when I was receiving all these downloads and the full process, I work with the Lipika. The Lipika, they are the celestial beings who have the role of being the scribes of karma. So connecting with them by now, I can tell you I have a really great connection with the Lipika. And they guide and support our work of finding the points of origin and retrieving the karmic lesson and retrieving the whole of the karmic lesson. Okay, so collaboration, very beautiful collaboration with the Lipika. Also, I bring an orb of truth around the point of origin so that this orb of truth that vibrates the frequency of truth, it facilitates the truth to come up, to come through, because these entanglements, they are entanglements of beliefs and emotions, and the orb of truth vibrates these entanglements so that they kind of crumble down and the truth comes to the surface, right? It brings up the truth out of the frequency of truth. And also we operate within a crystalline chamber of light that is our safe, sacred space for transformation and clearing. And I use the flow of light of the great central sun. And as I said, returning the residue to the great central sun, where I have authority to send the residue back to nothingness so that it's, return to nothingness, right? Now, the way we do that, we work with a theme. There are karmic entanglements around specific themes, and the themes can be very varied. There is a very broad variety of themes. There can be a very personal theme. Last week, I had a session. It was about clearing the karmic entanglements of enslavement by unworthiness. So that's very specific. It's not just enslavement, it's not just unworthiness, it's enslavement by unworthiness. That's what came through for the client. And as we did it, that was exactly what was needed to be done. And the karmic lessons were magnificent and fascinating. So that's something very specific, but it can be very broad themes. It can be whole behaviors or whole chunks of emotion. It can be clearing karmic entanglements of fear, of shame, of control, of domination, of disempowerment, of heartache, many variations with always amazing results. So the way I'm guided to work is I'm guided to work on whole large themes that whole humanity or big chunks of humanity are experiencing, so that together with an individual or with a group, we do great liberation work. That's really my assignment. And we can see in sessions that when we work with the individual, there's a moment when it comes to the collective clearing as well. So that's the private session that was shown to me when I was traveling on the plane. And that's what I've been doing, yes, with hundreds of clients, right? Incredibly deep and radical work. And really, I'm so honored to say it, because it is truly a sacred gift, something that I was born to do. There's other healing work that I do, what I've been doing prior to that, and occasionally I get to do it when that's the relevant thing to do. But whenever I get to clear karmic entanglements, it's just so much ease and so much more, at the same time, so much more ease and so much more depth than any other work that I do. And one day I was shown kind of a metaphor, I guess it is a metaphor of what we are really doing in this work, is that, if you have a house, and maybe it's an old house and it has wiring from, let's say, the electricity wiring, maybe that is very, very old. And if you want to upgrade your house and you want to upgrade the electricity wiring, well, do you go and, kind of have to tear the walls open to undo the wiring and change it? Well, that's a possibility. That's a lot of work. and you make a lot of mess in the house, right? But what I was shown is that the way we do this, with this grabbing of the whole stress web, it's as if at one point of the house, probably where the electricity counter is, right, where the counting is, if we would grab in such a way the whole wiring of the house that we would be able to pull it out all in one move, pull all the old, obsolete, toxic electric wiring of the house, pulling it out, throwing it away, and instead replacing it by flowing, let's say, how do you call it? Optical wires, right? Optical fiber, okay? In one move and one flow of the new technology, the higher technology, right? That's how efficient and powerful it is. Now, as I've said, yeah, hundreds of sessions, and I was really feeling blessed, and I still am feeling blessed doing this work. But you know, I had something in me that I wanted more, because, well, yes, it is very intense work, and these are big sessions, 1 hour, usually more than an hour. It can be an hour and a half. We work until we're done. And so I can only do so many in a day, you know. And Lorraine, I was kind of restless. How can I serve more people? Because so many people need this liberation work. How can I reach to more people, you know, and how can more people be liberated? And I was asking, and I ask questions. When I ask questions, I get answers, sometimes right away, sometimes not right away. And this one I've been asking, and I was asking and praying, and nothing was coming. Nobody was answering to me. And so I kept doing the sessions until one day I got it again, a download. Suddenly it was shown to me, Sophie, this is how you take the private session. This is how you need to tweak it a little bit, using the same process, the same format, doing the same work, but this is how you need to tweak it so that you can lead a whole group through it. And it was clear. Suddenly it was clear. Suddenly it made sense to me. Suddenly I was like, wow, why did I not get this earlier? Well, I suppose I was not ready yet to hold the magnitude of a whole group. Maybe I needed to become so masterful at doing it, you know, like a craft, doing it with individually. But also suddenly, so it was shown to me, and also Archangel Michael, with whom I had already at the time a great relationship, but he stepped forward and said, we're going to do this together. And what was shown to me was that his presence, not only presence, but let's say active presence and support and empowerment, would allow us to work with large groups on large themes, to take massive themes that whole of humanity is being burdened with and trapped in with. And that, well, as strong as I can be or become as a practitioner, there's only so much one person with their higher team can do. But with Archangel Michael stepping up, it became really a collaboration, a teamwork in let's do this together, allowing us to grab and hold and clear massive chunks of emotional and mental burdens, of toxic energy that, yes, hold individuals and whole collective, whole chunks of the collective. Sometimes these are experiences or themes that are just the whole of humanity is concerned with these themes. So this started at the beginning of this year, and it actually started with you, Lauren, with offering these workshops. So I started with these workshops, and you know, I must say, the very first time I was a bit timid, like, oh, how is it going to work, you know, when you do something the very first time. But with the clarity of this process and the power of Archangel Michael, right away, tremendous results, the most amazing results. And so, yes, Lauren, you gave me the chance to offer at the beginning of this year, offer the first workshops to your community. And it worked so well that, well, we agreed, let's keep this rolling. And actually I get assignments, I get callings because this is definitely a divine mission. So with that, I've been instructed really to make these workshops very accessible in price, to appeal to many, so that many can access this liberation work, and also so we can work with large groups. Large groups gather, and together we do massive collective clearing work, right? The work is framed so that we work with big, huge themes, and at one moment, at the beginning of the workshop, actually, we frame in such a way that all that we do during the workshop, we ask that through Archangel Michael and whatever other ways he finds appropriate to do, that our work ripples wide and far, and that the whole of humanity benefits from our clearing work. So another metaphor that I was shown that is kind of funny, I find, is, you know, sometimes we see this in movies, that you have a whole dinner table that is dressed with many guests at the table, and there's the tablecloth, and maybe one of the guests suddenly grabs the tablecloth and pulls it out, right? And pulls it out, and everything, the plates and everything, just goes dancing away. Well, what I was shown is how with these workshops we pull out the tablecloth of these themes, these toxic themes of entrapment. We pull them out from humanity's dinner table. So that's what we do in the workshops now. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's really some big themes, and it shows the importance of awareness, how the awareness absolutely works to disengage and dismantle. Mm-hmm. And it's a large portion of the work and the journey. And that's what the workshop does, is it helps people to become aware of these issues and these themes. So we've got a few minutes left. Let's do a little process, if you will, for group, and so they can experience this.
Absolutely. Thank you, because that's the perfect transitions. Yes, that's a process for awareness. So awareness around the themes of the next 3 workshops that are coming, that are in a package, in a bundle that is called Radiant Heart Liberation. So I've received this assignment to work on the next 3 themes. So we're going to do an exploration of the awareness of the presence of these 3 themes, and we're going to work with the orb of truth for that. Okay, so it's going to be a radiant heart checkup within the orb of truth. So let's take a moment to relax. Close your eyes if you can, if it is safe for you to do so. You're going to receive the orb of truth that's going to be placed around your aura. aura, and you'll be prompted with questions to explore your degree of heart radiance. So taking a few deep breaths, again, closing your eyes if it is safe for you to do so. Taking a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Bringing all your attention, all your presence here and now. You can decide to open your heart and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth. And your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe. So that you are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe. You can relax. And you are ready and open to receive. And as I tune into the galactic center, I call an orb of truth to be placed around your aura. And you can claim it now out loud or silently. I welcome and receive the orb of truth around my aura. And I'm offering this orb of truth, placing it around your aura. Filling and bathing your aura is the highest, the purest vibration of truth. Holding you safe, protected, informed in this truthful, high vibrational space. Allow any adjustment to this high vibration of truth that need to happen, let them just happen naturally. And breathe, being held in truth. Now let's bring in the questions to begin the exploration, the discovery, and the revelation. Proceeding to your radiant heart checkup. So within the orb of truth, ask your higher self to allow you to perceive to what extent and in what ways are you holding feelings, beliefs, loops and patterns, energetic imprints of rejection, being rejected, feeling rejected, abandoned, excluded, not feeling loved, accepted, not feeling welcome, not feeling invited in the journey of being, rejected by others in the family, at work, in the community, rejected maybe by the whole of humanity. Rejecting aspects of yourself. Rejection, maybe even by the divine. Or rejection of the divine, of having rejected the divine. And breathe. Within the orb of truth, ask your higher self to allow you to perceive to what extent, in what ways are you holding feelings, beliefs, energetic imprints, loops, and patterns of betrayal. Being betrayed, feeling betrayed, or you yourself betraying others. Being or feeling betrayed by others. Betraying yourself. Betraying the divine. Feeling betrayed, feeling let down by the divine. Maybe feelings or beliefs of having betrayed the divine. And breathe. Within the orb of truth, ask your higher self to allow you to perceive to what extent and in what ways are you holding feelings, beliefs, loops and patterns, energetic imprints of suppression, lack of freedom, lack of choice, silencing yourself or being silenced, inability to express yourself, to express your truth, to express the truth of who you are, or limitation of those expressions, only a partial, a limited expression, expression being suppressed, hiding, being hidden, invisible, suppression of feelings, suppression of emotions, suppression imposed on you by others in the family, in friendship, at work, in the community. Suppression of aspects of yourself. Suppression of your soul's purpose in this incarnation. Suppression of your connection to the subtle and higher realms, your connection to source, to the divine. Suppression of your higher self. And of your divine self. And breathe. Breathe, coming back to here and now. Take a moment to make mental notes or written notes of the awareness that you have gained, the status of your radiant heart's fitness, and where your higher self has been calling your attention. around these three themes of rejection, betrayal, and suppression. And breathe. Well done for acknowledging all that came to the surface, that was present within you, that was called to the surface. It takes courage to face it. So well done. Well done for being willing to notice all that you have noticed. Be open to more insights coming to your attention in the next few hours, next few days. As these questions may keep poking you, it would be your higher self taking care of bringing forth the awareness that you need, because it's time for you to set yourself free. And we give gratitude to the orb of truth. We allow it to remain there and hold us, surround us, hold us in truth for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sophie. That orb of truth is remarkable. There's aspects within all of us, I know, of those three themes. And so this is the work that we're doing on our planet. This is the heavy lifting that we all agreed to come in and do. So this is beautiful. And then the workshops will address each of these and allow it to clear.
Yeah.
So we have another moment or so. Share with us on your special offer for these workshops.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so I was called to, okay, next we do these three big chunks, right? Rejection is a big one with all these different variations. For you, is it abandonment, or what is the form of rejection that speaks to you? But rejection is a massive theme for many of, if not all of humanity, rejection of parts of and aspects of ourselves. So the first workshop is going to be the clearing of the karmic entanglements of rejection. And as I described in detail the process, right, it's going to be 1.5 hours of deep clearing of the karmic entanglements of rejection in the aura, in the past timeline, genealogical maternal line, genealogical paternal line, collecting the wisdom, clearing the residue, restoring the natural order, bringing you back on the higher trajectory of going with the divine, choosing the divine self, right? And so that's the first one, rejection. Second one, betrayal. When I was shown betrayal is pretty much humanity carries a history of betrayal pretty much. So there's some betrayal all over the place that's been keep bouncing. Oh, you betrayed me, and I betray you, I betray her. It's like it's so entangled, right? So let's disentangle. So that's the next. And the third one, suppression, so much suppression ourselves, suppression imposed on us. So we have these three lined up. We're gonna march, right? When we get started, we march. And for each of these three, you can either buy them all as the Radiant Heart Liberation bundle, and you get a very special offer for these three together, and you engage yourself on this intensive journey of liberation of your radiant heart, liberating your heart from rejection to pure love, from betrayal to integrity, from suppression to freedom. So you can do the whole journey. And or you can, if one specifically resonated for you or one exclusively resonated for you, you can choose one workshop. And for each workshop, we have 2 dates. We have the live workshop We do this together, and a few days, and the live workshop is at 9 a.m. Pacific for each of the 3 dates, each of the 3 themes and the 3 workshops. And we have an encore workshop that is at 4 p.m. Pacific, so that depending on your time zone, depending on your schedule, hopefully one of these 2 will be perfect for you. And of course, there's the replay, so that if you can't do either of these dates, you work with the replay, and you will have the replay to keep and download if you want to do more of these, right? If your higher self wants to pace you and have you do a big chunk and then come back to it, sometimes that's necessary, especially when we do collective work as opposed to individual private session work. You will be equipped to do that, and that's radiant heart liberation. And I'm very, very, very grateful, Lauren, for the opportunity to be offering this and to be leading this journey. Yes, we're going to be marching through the month of July. Until the end of July, our hearts will be radiating pure love, integrity, and freedom for all those who choose to join on this journey. Yes.
And July in many places around our planet is a month of liberation. And so,
oh, wow. Okay. And I don't even, that's the divine orchestration. I'm not even specifically aware of that, but the divine gives me assignments and timings, and, so that's how we do it. Thank you, Lauren, for adding this final touch to this perfection.
we have our, in the United States, we have our 4th of July, Liberation Day. France on the 14th.
Well, of course.
Guam was liberated from the Japanese on July 21st. So it's a month of liberation for our radiant heart. So we invite everyone that resonates with this. We know this is deep work. I know everyone in the orb of truth was shown their truth, and there's always things to work on. So these are very supportive, and you are a wonderful guide to facilitate this, to twist that little microscope a little bit differently so we can see from these perspectives for healing. This awareness is the liberation.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Sophie. The special offer is right here on this webpage, or in the description box, wherever you're watching or listening to this program. And we're excited. We hope you are too. Of course, there's a 2 payment plan because we want to make this easy for everyone and graceful as well.
Yes.
So again, we invite everyone to check that out. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sophie.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me and allowing me to offer this beautiful journey of liberation at the perfect moment.
Wonderful. And so as we say goodbye, I just want to give you a final moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'd love to give a final gift. I love to part with a gift. And one of the things I do, some of maybe of the audience know my power claiming keys, the power claiming keys that I create. They are like mantras of the heart. And I was inspired to create and to offer one to the audience on the occasion of our gathering. So I would like to offer this power claiming key. As you receive it, pay attention to the sensations in your body, the responses in your mind, your heart. Here is your power claiming key. Even if I don't know how, I intend to liberate my radiant heart fully and completely now. And I ask to be guided and supported. And breathe. Allow it to settle. I invite you to make it a mantra, make it your mantra. If it resonates with you, claim it out loud, write it down, sing it, dance it, make it yours, and make it support you in this journey of liberation of your radiant heart. Thank you. you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It feels beautiful and radiant, and this is our essence. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you everyone for watching and listening. We are here to support your growth and your radiant heart. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.